Hello, welcome to another episode of the Respect and Praise Show. I am your host, Miguel Medina, Triple M. And on this episode, I am so proud to have this person for this particular episode. She is someone that is a very hard worker, very relentless, someone that I've been very lucky to have met, and I'm continue to build connection with her, talk about multitude of different things. I've known her for about 3 years and counting now, and here's more of her work.
Necessarily a performance artist at all, nor am I a poet. I actually wrote my love letter to the South Bronx in the form of an actual letter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you EURYDICE Roman. EURYDICE, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
So you're the host of BRONXNET. This is your spotlight. You finished season 1 and currently working on season 2. Who's your dream guest that you would like to have on your show? And feel free to drop some names, whether known or unknown.
So I do have a season 2 coming up. Oh gosh, who's like my dream guest? Right now, I'm kind of small right now, so I don't have a specific dream guest that I would like to interview. I tried to interview some people. I guess I could say Gina Brillon. I did reach out to her before she went to America's Got Talent, and she won the category for, she was competing for the America's Got Talent grand prize. So she was one of the people I wanted to get, on there. Who else? If I had to, I guess that was one of the missed opportunities. I wouldn't say it was like a dream to have her on the show. But in terms of dream guests, I don't have any dream guests at the moment. So I like to keep myself, we'll see who potentially will be on the show for season 2. And there's just a lot of remarkable people that I know, as I'm sure you do know people too, Mike, that deserve a chance to be, shown.
What was the first film festival that you volunteered for?
I can remember it, believe it or not. And let's see. It was the Tribeca Film Festival. I started in 2006. I started as what they call a screenings volunteer. So at that time, there were actually paper tickets, and people would give you a ticket. You had to break the stub, and then there was you had to click. It was like one of a few positions there. So you would be in front of the theater with the theater manager. You waited until the crowds came from downstairs, and either you tore the tickets, clicked the people coming in, you gave them a physical copy of the program, because sometimes people wouldn't pick up a program as they come to the festivals. And I did that for an entire week. I was at CCNY at the time, the City College of New York. And it was interesting because I had to tell my professor at the time, like, oh, I'm at the Tribeca Film Festival volunteering. Can I get an extension on a project? And he looked at me like, you're volunteering at a festival. You're not getting paid to be at a festival. I said, I know, but it's the Tribeca Film Festival. And at that juncture, the festival was about 5 years in, because as you know, Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal and I forgot the third person's name. They started the festival in 2001 after the tragic events of the World Trade Center. So I was like, I wasn't down there at BMCC. I was actually a student at BMCC during that time. I had no inclination to want to volunteer until I got to City College, and I was like, let me go. And then that year that I volunteered, they moved up to 34th Street. at the AMC on 8th Avenue. So then I volunteered there. It was fun. It was a good, fun 11 days. I think I did like 4 or 5. I couldn't do the full 11. That was a lot of time.
How do you manage to stay so calm and relaxed when there's so much going on, especially when it's opening day?
Let's take a look. All right, I've been a venue manager. I have been the volunteer coordinator. What I've learned is just whatever I signed up to do is what I'm sticking to. And I am not above, having to engage in customer service and dealing with people and having to, deal with my fellow film festival, either volunteer or fellow staff member. So that's how I keep calm. I'm just like, okay, I make notes. I usually have a notebook sometimes with me. It's like, listen, this is what I signed up for. I'm a volunteer coordinator. I'm just worried about the volunteers and that all the departments for opening night have their people. So I just make that my whole thing. So whatever I signed up to do, that's what I do. I try not to go above and beyond, and I really not try to like embroil myself in way too much drama, because everybody's all, especially like the general manager, the managing director, the founder, the executive director. They're like cats, like cats with the nails ready to strike somebody, because they just want everything to go so well, and they have so much pressure on them, and there's so much things to do. And then once opening night is over, everybody usually comes down and just be like, okay, day by day, and and that's how it happens. So that's how I keep calm. I just do what I have to do, and as long as my role is done for the night, I'm good. So that's my secret to staying calm. Know your run, play your position, honey.
You attended CCNY, yay, my fellow alumni, in which you obtained your BA in film and video production. Did you always wanted to do film, or was this something that you discovered along the way while you were at CCNY?
Well, I'm gonna say like this. I went into City College pretty determined to do what I set out to do. My film fascination began before I went to City. Once I started seeing how movies were made and getting into it, and I knew the actors, and I knew, things like that, and I always like looked at scene composition and stuff like that. Once I started getting into it, I was just like, okay. Once I finished television production, I learned TV angles, and I learned different formats of TV shows. So I was just like, okay, I could do a TV show based upon everything that there is. I could do a TV show. I'm confident. Now I want to be able to make a good movie that can resonate with people on all different levels. So yeah, I discovered that before I went to CCNY. And actually, when I went to CCNY and I took screenwriting, directing, film directing, theater directing, I took the history of documentary series. When I learned about that, that was great. Shout out to definitely the MCA, the Media Communication Arts Department at CCNY. Top-notch professors, really good people. And yeah, so my passion was pre-forged before that. What's the best advice I can say the professor gave me? I can't recall. No disrespect to any of the professors. It's just I was so imbued in my own, like, I gotta get stuff done. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And so yeah. Well, if I could say anything in terms of the, not so much of advice as the criticism, they were like, listen, you have to always, fine tune and sharpen what you do, and make sure you don't do jump cuts, especially when it comes to editing. Shout out to Professor Babak Rossi. He definitely told me that. Also to Andrea Weiss, who taught me about documentary, especially shooting. The first exercise was was shooting a ballet class. I just happened to see that and record that. She was very encouraging. Alfred Santana, he was super encouraging as well. Who else? Definitely Professor Carlson, if I have to give out a shout out to all these professors. Professor Carlson was really great, especially with introduction to film history. He was good, and he broke it down, and he was always approachable and things like that. So that made it easy. So there was like, sharpen and remember, especially with Professor Santana, he was just like, listen, I'm going to tell you a couple things. We are Latinos. You have to fight twice as hard and twice as much just to get seen. Make sure you do a good job at it. So, for sure. And I think that's about it in terms of criticisms. But it wasn't so much advice as, critiques of how to, be better at what I was doing.
Documentaries or films?
I'm more of a film watcher than a documentary watcher. It has to be a really, really dynamic person that I would want to see in terms of documentary. So more films.
Short films or feature films?
I create short films. I prefer to watch feature films.
I got a good one for you. Tribeca or New York Film Festival?
Tribeca definitely for the summer, and spring and summer, and the New York Film Festival is my go-to festival for the fall. So yeah, it's been much more chill at the New York Film Festival, so I'll say that.
Hip hop or R&B?
I'm more of an R&B person. A couple of hip hop artists have like streamed into there.
Last but not least, Hot 97 CDs or Spotify?
I'm sorry, you really dated yourself when you said that. Hot 97 CDs or Spotify? I'll take Hot 97 CDs because I used to buy them. So, yes, I'm a dinosauria. So, yeah, Hot 97.
You're a person that touches a lot on autism. You made a documentary called The Autism Cycle. What was the inspiration in making the documentary?
Very simple. 2 words, 1 phrase. My son. My son was the inspiration for the documentary. And then also, I saw this documentary called Love Autism. And I didn't like the way the person did it. It was very, it was done like similar to Frederick Weissman's almost observational, that he did like interviews, but they weren't, the person wasn't sitting down. So it was like observational combined. And there was just one scene in there that I was just like, yeah, it was jarring. So I just figured I thought I'd do something respectfully that nobody would be ashamed of later on. And yeah, my son was my inspiration. And then seeing all the kids that I used to see in all his classes was the other inspiration for the movie itself. And there was a lot of parents, especially of Black and brown communities, that didn't have like representation adequate enough in the media. Like Black and brown people ever do get accurate, or enough representation when it comes to a lot of things. And I just wanted to put, a person of color, and also, to show that there are other people who are going through the autism struggle, that it's just not me. So that's when I did the autism cycle. It took me 1 year to record and another year to edit. And then I was ready to like throw it out there into the festival circuit. So I haven't won an award, but at least I got myself out there. So
there's a GoFundMe page going on for your new short film called Graduation Day. What can we expect from Graduation Day, and why should people want to watch this movie?
The reason people should want to go watch Graduation Day, it's a short film. It's only 8 minutes, and everybody has that universal need to be seen, want to be accepted and respected. So I did it for, the autism community, because there are conversations that people don't have. For example, especially in the Latinx community, we don't acknowledge or have conversations about mental health, whether it's autism, anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, even diabetes. Some people don't want to have that conversation because nobody wants to admit a weakness. So this is a conversation that I decided to encapsulate because it hasn't happened in my life. So I think this would be a nice moment for people to recognize that people on the autism spectrum do want to have these conversations, but sometimes they don't know how. And if they're verbal, it's like they don't know the social cues when you're upset, pissed off, or annoyed. So this is for the community. I'm doing it. And I think it's a valuable film, and it's something good out there. And it's definitely representative for sure.
Eurydice, thank you so much for being on this show. I give you my flowers because you're still here, and also help promote more what you're doing, because I feel that the people need to know more about you. So I salute you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep grinding. And I'm rooting for you. Best of luck.
Thank you for this interview. I appreciate it. And good luck to you. And, keeping up with this show and doing everything that it demands that you've set out to do with it. And thank you for giving me my flowers, as they're saying. That's the term nowadays. It's like you give someone their flowers, you give someone some kudos, some respect and praise, like the name of the show. And thanks very much for this opportunity, Mike. I appreciate you. And thank you for being on my show. This is your spotlight as episode 10 guest.
Like, Latinos, for some reason don't have children with autism or whatever. So yeah, when you were like, I was like the only one. I'm like, oh, lucky me, right? I have two.
It goes around and says that autistics can't lie, they can't manipulate, they can't steal, and all, or they won't do all that stuff. You ever seen that one?
No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
Girl, yep. I get mad every time I see it. I say if I ever see it again, I reposted it. I tell people to stop saying it because that's a lie.
Well, that does it for this episode of the Respect and Pray Show. I know what you guys are probably thinking. Mike, you're not behind the desk or something. Like, what's going on? What's up with that? Well, there's a little mini situation going on about that, but don't you worry. For the next episode, I will be back behind the desk and continue to entertain you guys and to provide you with so much gratitude, so much respect, love, and admiration that we need in this world. And that's always been my motto, especially for this show. Have mutual respect, mutual love, and mutual admiration. So, until next time.